Today's matchup. Jin Air GreenWings. BBQ Olivers. Zone Dragon X. MVP. Beginning of the end. 2018 League of Legends Champions Korea Spring Split.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2018. I'm Atlas, this is Papa Smithy, and it's another week of OGN LCK. Had a good night at Gangnam Stadium. Some weird games, though, to be honest. And is it going to happen again tonight? Are we going to get some upsets, Papa?
It feels like favorites is almost a dirty word in the LCK, because every time we big up a team, that's when they let us down. FLICKR last week, but then coming back with a great performance recently. Yesterday, Katie Rolster.
Oh, yeah.
Those fans, that roller coaster, straight off the deep end. Today, even our first series, Jin Air versus BBQ, we feel like we understand both these teams with BBQ losing to MVP twice, 2-0, in the course of a couple of weeks. And yet, will Jin Air come through as favorites and win? That part I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, this is really confusing, actually, because BBQ have one 2-0 victory so far this season, and it's against Jin Air GreenWings. So theoretically, if the MVP idea that you just spoke about is actually correct, we should have a 2-0 on our hands, and it's going to be BBQ.
And of course, lots of analysts out there enjoy their greater than chains, where this team beat this team, that means they're better than this team. I feel like it goes all the way around. All 10 teams basically have a greater than chain that means they're better than Kingzone Dragon X, for example. Such has been a very strange season. Remember, BBQ, 2 series ago, beat Kingzone, so of course they're going to beat Jin Air, except not recently. It's such a weird world, but let's just take that all to one side and appreciate the creme de la creme of the KDA in every role.
Yeah, exactly. Khan well and truly towards the top side, but SoHwan might actually surprise you. Really sneaking up there with his KDA, and it will be in our first match today as well. Top side of the map for Jin Air. I don't know, man. I feel like Khan's certainly dropping down as far as that KDA is concerned in recent times, but we'll see whether he can prove himself tonight in our second matchup. Peanut as well. I have a feeling, guys, that we are going to be topped off by some Kingzone Dragon X players generally at the top of the standings when it comes to the KDAs.
It does feel like numbers are very misleading. Blank is at number 3 here, but certainly hasn't been a top 5 jungler, so KDAs are fun to, gawk at, especially when the numbers get closer and closer to 10. Blossom has been one of the shining stars of SKT, and SKT's match tomorrow, you and I will be bringing SK Telecom T1 against the FLICKR Freaks. That's going to be a fiery one, and then some. It does feel like, in general, lower KDAs than previous seasons because there's been a lot of parity on the Rift. It's been a really hard slog to get a 2-0 victory for most teams outside the 2 big streaks we've had in the league so far, and I'm excited to see Grace in our first set, because that KDA, it's only on the up recently.
Yeah, and Grace, the Taliyah as well, has been something that he's been popping off on, and she really has been making a resurgence here on patch 8.3. So going up against Tempt, we'll see what he's going to be able to do, because Tempt hasn't quite found a win on one of his old favorites in the Taliyah.
Speaking of old favorites, one of the old fogies of the bot lane, Bang at 9.5 KDA, popping off, flashing aggressively, looking for picks on the Varus. Bang has been a great performer this season, even if SK Telecom has struggled. And Kramer, at number 3, went way down from his previous number 1 KDA in the league, and in fact, lost his starting spot to Aiming. So will Kramer even be playing in that huge showdown tomorrow against SKT?
Yeah, and Aiming actually going extraordinarily well against Ruler and Core JJ last night. Kalista looked great, but Wolf at the very top of the support KDAs, the man sort of did a little bit of an excursion towards the jungle, was out of the roster for a little bit, comes back and gets straight to the top of the KDA ranking. So not bad, Wolf.
You follow their approach to the start of the season, and maybe he shouldn't even been playing support. They clearly wanted effort to be the new support starter. Wolf started in the jungle, now in the support role. Bang and Wolf, KDA gods. Strange things to say in 2018, but when it comes to MVPs, I think it's well deserving to have Deft up at number 1.
Yeah, Deft really been fantastic. Sort of the only player here that's shown that Caitlyn is deserved of a ban slot as well, to be honest. We don't really have Caitlyn players that'll be going off quite as much as Deft. Maybe elsewhere around the world we've seen Caitlyn's going very, very well, but really it's just Deft holding down that slot.
Apologies to Tucson, second place, but also has been a god on the support.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Alistair in particular being a big one for him. Will we finally see a non-top or mid laner actually pick up the MVP this season? Never happened in the LCK era. We'll definitely not sugarcoat it. It is not top 5 opposition in our first series. 7th versus 8th, but Jin Air, to me, are better than their current placing in the standings might represent. They need to confirm that by comfortably beating BBQ Olivers.
Yeah, they really need to start finding some consistency as well, because they've been dropping games to teams where they shouldn't necessarily be dropping them, and Jin Air was a team that was really up and down in the summer split last year as well, but I personally found some fondness for them because in their good performances, Jin Air looked fantastic. So now trying to come back here against BBQ Olivers, who were on a massive high and then lost 0-2 to MVP. So we have absolutely no idea what's going on.
None at all. Trick will be starting again, a little bit of spoilers to the roster, so they'll be trying the roster that lost to MVP. Let's go with the introductions. Look on the Jin Air side, and no sign of justice. They will be sticking with Grace as their starting mid laner, and Grace has been in wonderful form in recent series.
Yeah, has been fantastic. SoHwan as well on the top side of the map. Every member of this team thinks that SoHwan is their point of power, but it hasn't necessarily been the case. Teddy and Grace really have been stepping up. UmTi as well, having a brilliant middle of the season so far. We'll see whether Jin Air GreenWings can add another notch, grab another victory for themselves, because they're few and far between. Jin Air, despite the fact that we have been toting them as a decent team around the middle of the pack, have only found 4 match wins so far this season.
And you mentioned the name SoHwan. Of course, he was very close to crushing Smeb and KT Rolster in Game 3 of that series against KT. Wasn't able to get over the line. The team let him down. BBQ Olivers have been a team that, like you say, have gone through a lot of recent turmoil. Bono out, Trick in for the most recent series. Trick unable to get anything going in their last series against MVP.
But did fantastically well against Kingzone. So Trick has another one that he can try his medal in. We'll see whether Bono is going to be subbing for the BBQ Olivers potentially in game number 2, or whether they're going to once again keep Trick on the whole time.
And they seem to be the best. Ghost is the best. Tempt is the best. They're all the best, at least according to the really cool cyberpunk
If you're all the
cheerfuls
best,
we have here.
can you ever actually be the best?
Are you doing the Incredibles thing? If everyone's the best, no one is the best?
Yeah.
Well, BBQ are not the best we have in the LCK, but they did beat Jin Air in that series. That was their second most recent match win. The Kingzone one feeling like a bit of an aberration after going down 2-0 to MVP. 2 series out of 3. Whereas Jin Air, they've been up and down. You know, the wins over MVP, Kongdu, and the FLICKR win was super clean just about a week ago. So where either of these teams is at, obviously literally near the bottom of the pack, but where they're at against each other, where it really does matter, where they are competing to either stay out of relegation or inch towards the playoffs. KDA-wise, no surprise that Teddy, who's had a very impressive season thus far, even with some recent struggles, is better than Ghost.
Yeah, it's just such a similar story for both of these teams towards the end over the last couple of weeks, just with FLICKR going down 0-2 to Jin Air, and then Kingzone doing the same thing, although it was a 1-2 against BBQ. Which one of them was actually serious? Which one of these teams is actually going to be able to secure a victory here? That is the question, and Teddy's certainly going to have a hand in that if Jin Air are going to be the ones, because his Kalista has been gone pretty well so far this season.
And a double underlined on my KDA sheet, because of course he's undefeated on the Kalista, being a big pick for him. He's also been Ghost's most played, so when we hit Champions Set, we'll remind you guys that we expect to see a lot of consistent Kalista contested picks.
Yep.
The Gangplank also has been very frequently banned this season. So far this week, in the last couple of match days, it's been a lot of ban out the classic OPs and kind of make the drafts from there. So there is really a chance that some of the pocket picks will be open to Jin Air and BBQ.
Yeah, and I really feel like, you know, we are going to be looking in the mid lane for a lot of these extra bans that are going to be coming in at the beginning, but I think the Kalista has to hit the ban list for both of these teams, really.
And I think also there needs to be an argument that Teddy needs to kind of diversify, or Jin Air needs to diversify their carries. Grace said some recent games, when Teddy can be a role player and doesn't have to have #1 kill participation in his role, #1 CS per minute in his role. Whenever Teddy can just be a solid contributor and Jin Air win, I think it means a lot for the squad going forward, because we know how good Teddy is, but SoHwan, Grace, some of these other players are still building their reputation.
Yeah, and I feel like Teddy is the most amazing insurance policy for getting towards that late game as well. As we have a look at our key position, it will be towards the top side of the map. SoHwan and Crazy, both of them, I know, play a lot of tanks, right? But they've been spamming carries in solo queue, Papa Smithy. Will we have the Sion versus Ornn? Maybe not. Maybe we'll have Jace versus Fiora. Who knows what's going to happen? There could be some fun stuff.
I mean, you look at the history, we have the 9th DPM top laner taking on the 9th damage taken per minute top lane. What does that mean? Where does the damage go, Atlas?
I don't know. One of them's not good at taking damage, so they might play things that aren't tanks, I guess. And the other one isn't good at dealing damage, which means they only play tanks. And it's the worst.
It's a really strange matchup here. The numbers definitely don't make it more hype, except for the KDA being very nice for SoHwan. There's been a lot of direst treatment to top laners, so KDA is second in role in the LCK. But I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping we see Fiora versus Camille, a possibility, given what they played in professional. I hope we don't see the Kassadin. Put that one in the dumpster. It was really bad.
It was super bad. Exceptionally bad. Let's have a look. See what the fans think about Jin Air versus BBQ, because it's a hard one to predict. 69-31. Okay. Jin Air GreenWings still having a few more fans out there. BBQ Oliver's doing what they can, but I don't know. I feel like it's closer than
games to MVP in the last 3 weeks, so I
can
understand.
I mean, MVP's their kryptonite, man. No more MVP games from now on. They're like smooth sailing.
I mean, it only gets easier for them in the run-in, I guess, not having to play MVP again.
You wait for the King Zone rematch. Oh yeah, everything's fine.
Well, Jin Air GreenWings, let's see if you can vindicate the optimism. Very infrequently will they pick up the match prediction advantage. I really need to see picks and bans, because we're seeing a lot of new trends this week. And a lot of priority on the Taliyah in particular. I feel like we can kind of do an eye test of what a good Jin Air draft and a bad Jin Air draft look like. Let's see if they can err on the former and show us what they've recently been firing on all cylinders with in recent match days.
Yeah. Still a lot to work out. It's hard. You know, we do a lot of research checking out what's been going on in solo queue, but solo queue is now 8.4, a very different patch. So it's harder to really do the scouting work and find out what these guys have been playing. But here we are, champion select for game number 1, Jin Air versus BBQ. See whether BBQ can once again get the 2-0 on the board like last time these two teams clashed, or whether Jin Air is going to have a better showing this time around. And we mentioned that the mid lane might be a point of focus, and already that is where the first ban goes against the Azir and the Gallier as well on the side of BBQ.
Does kind of tell us more information about what Grace wants to play rather than represent anything like a contested pick, just because Tempt has played a lot of Azir this season, but not found a single victory on it in 6 attempts.
I actually like the Gallier ban as well. 100% win rate so far for Grace in a couple of games, so just take that off the board. Tempt hasn't been so lucky with the Gargoyle.
Yeah, we're wondering about Kalista and Taliyah in terms of their priority in this draft. I believe Jin Air want to return to their Taliyah comp because Grace looked fantastic on it. And like I mentioned, Gangplank this week and in recent match days has finally been hitting the ban list after so many games. The Kalista will be banned away, smart ban. But that means Xayah Rakan is available. Do we see BBQ try to rip one away from the bot lane? Because this is quite a heavy emphasis on getting a winning bot lane. You can still go for something like Caitlyn Braum if you want to. On the red side, Varus Braum would also represent a very strong duo. How much value do you put on denying the Rakan away? We've already seen a team put together an Ezreal Rakan lane that definitely made us wonder.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like that will be the case in this game.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Rakan seems to only work with either Xayah or Kalista. Both of those two really giving the Rakan the safety or just the added power that you need to lane well. Wraith is going to lock that one away, though, because Trick went over towards the J4, and there's the Taliyah.
So this is looking like a good draft from Jin Air. The one thing they need to find is the ability for UmTi to have a skirmishing advantage over Trick, because how Jin Air play is that UmTi, of course, likes to be a battle ward. He's basically 2016 Peanut in terms of levels of aggression, if not as reliable a player. And they like to play around advantages. Xayah Rakan in most duo lanes will at least scale into a laning advantage and then play around the pressure that Taliyah Weavers will can represent and start taking down those structures early. A bit reminiscent of what we saw from Rox Tigers in their series against KT Rolster. Now, because they're blind picking the Taliyah with Zoe open, we shouldn't be surprised to see Tempt jump on the Zoe. But if you can hit your timings, get into the Banshee Veil, you can at least push and roam on the Zoe.
Yeah, we've actually seen Taliyahs do very, very well into the Zoe. Not sure whether it necessarily classifies as a counter matchup or anything like that, but a lot of people have been picking her into what was the powerhouse, especially as we're still on 8.3. So we'll see whether Tempt is going to be able to once again have a brilliant performance. So far, 3-1 on the Zoe. We know Tempt is a fantastic mechanical player. It makes sense that he's making great things happen on the Zoe as well.
I think the word counter matchup is definitely a trap word because you think of solo kills in lane, but it counters what Zoe wants to do. If you can play through the Zoe lane, if the enemy mid laner is basically taking free paddle stars or stuck in lane like an Orianna would be against a Zoe, then it's bad. But if you can push and roam on the Zoe while she's still mid lane trying to wave clear, that is considered a winning lane against the Zoe. That's what Taliyah provides. So it's a good pick into the Zoe without being a traditional counter pick.
Yeah, not to mention Seismic Shove works very well with the portal jump. If you can chuck it back where she used to be. Certainly circumstantial. And there's the Narban, going to be taken away from SoHwan. Been spamming that a little bit in the old solo queue, but like I said, it's difficult to take information from there. And Alistar finally taken away against IgNar.
I think Jin Air will want Jin Air will want Sion on the blue side, just so they don't have to play around top side. Feels like a combative jungler and a super safe top laner is how they'll go. If they go for a Sion, you could see the Fiora coming through from Kha'Zix. Yeah, that is a surprise. Varus Leona rolling it back a little bit in terms of duo lanes. A lot of synergy here. Kind of a more aggressive version of Varus Braum or Varus Taric when it comes to the permanent lockdown you can provide. And I think it is Sion time for SoHwan.
Oh, Papa. Are we going to do it again?
Yeah, we are.
Is it going to be Ornn versus Sion? Is it actually going to happen?
It's going to be Kha'Zix from UmTi.
Ooh, potentially.
How aggressive is UmTi going to go is kind of what I'm looking to see here. Oh, I'm feeling like a prophet today.
You are doing very, very well. That being said, I mean, there weren't a whole lot of different options, but...
What are you doing?
It's going to be the Shen jungle. It's been a long time since we've seen the old Shen jungle.
This looks like a perfect draft for how Jin Air have been winning games recently, so I'm liking what they see. It can also be unsettled. Creative pathing from Trick, the Zoe getting going, and Taliyah being caught in lane. It's not an auto-win draft, but it's how Jin Air have been winning games, so that's why I'm liking them, understanding where they're strong. So far, it seems like they know where their bread is buttered. The top lane does end up being the potato tanks, Atlas.
I know, and look, we all knew it was going to happen, but I just really didn't want it to. Okay, but we do at least have an exciting mid lane. Taliyah versus Zoe. Certainly a lot of opportunities for outplay for both of these players. We'll see whether UmTi can get around this map early on. We're not going to be looking at the top lane, but bottom lane will certainly be a crazy... I was trying to work out the right adjective, but it could be anything down there, to be honest.
It's going to be crazy. There could be tricks. IgNar's there. I know, you said crazy and then saw crazy and got trolled. We've all been
sort
there.
of like lost my mind.
As shoutcasters, I tend to agree with you just because the way BBQ want to play is Leona goes in aggressively and the Jarvan is there to capitalize or counter gank because Leona's aggression is telegraphed in lane. Both teams will play around it. However, UmTi doesn't want to be there for a counter gank. He wants to be battle warding the Jarvan. So Jarvan wants to be bot. UmTi wants to be in the face of the Jarvan in his jungle. That'll be the fun thing to track is the early starts, even the level 1s, and seeing where the pathing is likely to end up. Because we could see some crazy stuff. We could even see a level 2 gank coming through from the Jarvan to kind of rewrite the story from the side of BBQ because they want to disrupt the natural game plan of what Jin Air have drafted.
Yeah, and I feel like disruption is exactly what BBQ have in their arsenal, as well as the fact that they can play around IgNar as well, who has been fantastic when he's able to be proactive. So give them Leona, and then things should definitely go well, but it all has to fall where it needs to for BBQ, and we'll see whether it does. Jin Air as well, a lot of options. Let's get onto the rift for game number 1.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
BBQ fans actually pretty vocal in the audience tonight. It's a bit of a rainy day here in Seoul, so not as many fans managing to make it out. It's a bit dismal outside, so we're pretty happy to be inside the studio bringing you some sweet League of Legends.
The BBQ fans, Tempt fighting is the call. And Tempt on the Zoe.
No, Tempt dancing, I think.
That's true.
Yeah.
Both things happening. And Tempt has been great on the Zoe. One of our most mechanically gifted mid laners here in Korea, so no surprise. He can make some sweet things happen on the Zoe.
Yeah, it took a little while to really warm up so far this season, but has certainly had some fantastic performances.
It's definitely been a battle in recent memory between Jin Air and BBQ. Jin Air has kind of paralleled the fortunes of BBQ in that time. They haven't often been in the relegation tournament, but they haven't been succeeding in any great ways since 2016 spring, so probably no surprise. They're both pretty even in terms of the head-to-head.
Yep. Interestingly as well, just bring your eyes over towards the runes. We do have a spellbook for Wraith, so really wanting to get around the map on the Rakan. Since 8.3 hit, we've seen a whole lot less on the supports, but not Wraith, deciding to stick with it.
Also thought we might have seen BBQ enter lane very early, try to get the early push on, allow Leona to hit level 2, because Leona does struggle. She's behind in levels. And Power Spike's definitely level 3 when it comes to lane.
Yeah, and they are against a very difficult laning duo to go up against. You can see Wraith and Teddy playing very far up, as Wraith grabs that passive shield.
Both junglers playing towards the top side with a red and blue side, so mirrored ending path if they do both go top lane at level 3. Yeah. Bot lane control goes the way of Jin Air. Here's Trick, so they actually find Trick and UmTi face to face for the first time, and probably many times this game.
The battle of the Rift Scuttler. UmTi, oh, that was actually really sneaky. Using his leap as if he was definitely going to leave, and then not actually leaving. As the grand entrance, bit of damage coming down, but Teddy focusing more on killing creeps. That was a cannon creep that he wasn't going to let go. We all know how Teddy feels about minions.
Number 1 in CS per minute at 12, which, as you know, he doesn't miss basically anything. He still, forever this season, will be inflated by killing 3 waves of super minions in the 94-minute game.
I think he has the highest CS per 90 ever.
I think he has the highest CS per minute this far into a season ever. Like,
well, that's
it's an
true,
insanely high number, being at 12 CS per minute.
You did mention the fact that, you know, there's just not enough minions that are on the map before 90
Where are you going to find more?
Silly.
We are also overdue for a 94-minute game, so this could definitely represent that.
I'm pretty comfortable today.
You got your thing good?
Yeah. I readjusted my chair earlier on, so I'm ready to settle in. Bring it to us, Jin Air BBQ. Sit down for quite some time, commentate some League of Legends. IgNar, you can see, warded up at the moment, but hit level 3, having all of his buttons to press. Feels pretty good as a Leona. We'll see whether he actually decides to pull the trigger. The counter-engage options for Xayah Rakan are still definitely there, and Wraith can get out of the way of any trouble if the Zenith Blade does actually hit.
And the excitement options for this game do largely center around specifically Taliyah hitting level 6 and coordinating with her jungler. Right now, Kha'Zix going for the passive farm, pick up the Tracker's Knife. Last week of Tracker's Knife play will have in competitive play, given that's being removed on patch 8.4.
Yeah.
Getting a chance to look at SoHwan's runes. He has been going for the Glacial Augment, which has overtaken the Comet in terms of rune choice on the Sion. You'll notice...
Not as fun.
Not as fun, that's fair to say. Trick's mid lane, so I'll hold the point about Sion. But it's going to be a ward. So Sion players have been very flexible about their maxes. Hasn't been kind of as clear and cut as it basically is with every other champion. You kind of always know the moment the lane starts what are you going to max. If Varus is going to go for a Q max, you know, it's going to be tier Varus, but that's not in meta, so of course it'll be E into W. Reason why Sion is interesting is recently, even with Glacial Augment, the first time we saw it was Q max against a champion that didn't have a on-demand interrupt. But now we're seeing the Ornn, and Ornn, as Q eventually gets buffered when the little terrain is created at the end of it, does interrupt Decimating Smash. So even though it's not Comet, it is going to be an Emax from the Sion, so he has more reliable ability to actually harass and trade, rather than the Q just being interrupted on demand.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually really like it when a champion can be changed up, depending on which matchup you're in. And at the moment, Crazy doing fantastically well. We've seen this sort of go both ways. Of course, no one's really going to die towards the top side of the map, but who has the lane advantage has been different from matchup to matchup based on who's playing. So SoHwan actually getting the worst end of this stick is crazy. He's able to bellow some fire towards the Sion.
I mean, Bellow's Breath is just so broken in tank versus tank matchups, then takes grasp of the Undying as well to win the trades harder. So I would always expect the Ornn to win, because he wave clears, pokes, and also has a shield to win a trade, and it's E-Max no Comet Sion, so the damage potential is much lower than before. In the early levels, the cooldown is pretty high, so you kind of rely on the Comet proc to do trade damage, and then by the time you get high enough level, you're not going to be doing a lot of relevant damage. So you kind of lose out in terms of lane presence, but at least your Decimating Smash is not getting interrupted, so you still have options.
Yeah, that feels way better. What feels awful is the fact that SoHwan couldn't actually afford his Catalyst when he went back home, so just sitting on a couple of different colored rocks, and it's not going to help you so much.
Celestial Body picked up by Leona, extra 100 health, and takes the trade-off of lower damage in the first 10 minutes to get through what is a tricky laning matchup.
Yep. So Tempt just take a lot of damage from Grace there in the mid lane. So caught out of position just a little bit. Threaded volley able to really punish.
We finally saw some really convincing Sion play yesterday. We saw a lot of Sion last week, but in general, the Sion was losing, and the Sion wasn't really contributing as the game went on. I think understanding what Sion's good at and what he struggles at is important. Late game team fighting is nothing to write home about. His base damages are super high, but as the game goes on, he can struggle. Push and roam with Sion, the Banner of Command approach we saw pretty frequently yesterday, is probably the best way to go. That gets the most out of the Sion, whose laning is safe in every matchup, and then he has physical damage wave clear to answer a Banner of Command. So you get that first banner, you roam. His ability to roam to mid lane is almost second to none, with how much damage if you get a fully channeled ultimate off you can do when you go for that mid lane roam. So I want to see SoHwan be proactive. If you just lane forever and then show up in a team fight at 35 minutes, Ornn will naturally be a stronger champion.
Yeah. That being said, we saw Khan do fantastic things on the Sion, even able to get that beautiful catch towards the end, a little while ago now. We've seen Kingzone Dragon X. See whether we're going to see the Sion again tonight in our second matchup.
Khan had some choice words for Sion in an interview with Invent Global. I'm not sure if he can actually repeat what he said, but let's just say that laning against Sion made him very frustrated.
Yeah.
He was playing Jace, so I'm sure the tank players will say the same thing about Jace. But
still did okay in that particular matchup.
It's just amazing how much punishment the Sion can take. Reminds me of that famous Simpson episode where Homer outlasts everyone as a boxer. That's Sion. He just never dies.
Oh, I like that episode.
I realize that episode is probably older than most of the people in that chat.
Yeah.
We're old, Atlas. Mostly me. Well, you should go back and watch that Simpson episode. It's great.
You're older than me. Like, it's really not that much. I think we can basically say that we're the same age at this point. You know, it's been so many years.
Hey, I'll take it. I need whatever I can get out.
I got you.
There's not many Riotcasters older than me, so I do feel like an elder statesman.
Yeah.
Kobe and Riv representing.
Yeah, thank goodness. Thank goodness Kobe and Riv are still there. We're all going to be okay. See, Tempt actually considering a move towards the bottom side of the map, but there are pings everywhere. You know, a lot of vision available, and they have the Dream Taliyah wards. You've spoken about these so many times. But those 2 control wards they have moving down towards the bottom side of the map just means that BBQ will have to be so careful of the Taliyah roams. They could just be a wall. They could just build a wall.
This is the timing, and that's why Trick is there for the counter gate, not revealed. Nice positioning.
Oh, the Solar Flare comes in. All the layering, it's all too easy for BBQ. They may even get another one as a Cataclysm comes through. Featherstorm, Teddy doesn't even use the flash just yet, and in fact, isn't going to go for it at all. He was trying to buy time. Teleport now from Tempt, though. He is going to cancel it.
Pretty bizarre, all things considered, how there was no attempt to exit by Teddy. He knew he was likely dead with a follow flash, but wanted to keep up his summoner for future laning. Using your flash against a Leona is often going to be a recipe for doom, Atlas, so really wanted to hold on to that. Love how on point Trick and IgNar were for the setup. Complete CC lock, even with the escape being there for Wraith in most normal scenarios. He goes back, he picks up a teleport. He doesn't want to deal with these shenanigans ever again. Nice advantage for BBQ.
Yeah. I assume by teleport you mean the cleanse.
The cleanse, yes.
Yes, that he's gone and grabbed for himself.
That's what I mean. Cleanse on the mind, teleport, usually the pickup, but needs to cleanse for laning phase, otherwise rinse and repeat every time the Leona ultimate is available.
Yeah. I like it out of Jin Air because it means that now they've got a little bit more battle statistics in order to get stuff happening. There's no ignite, no heal, but still theoretically it is going to be, you know, an opportunity for Jin Air to try and get one back.
And they work against the timer. You know, the timer of Taliyah actually finding the right roam timing with the Weave as well bot lane. Jin Air would have expected to crash the turret bot lane first. Really what they've set up this draft for. That's been delayed with the summoners being down. Taliyah hasn't found the roam. BBQ getting advantages top side as Sion just does a Sion thing and doesn't die. So BBQ are buying time and Jin Air aren't able to rotate their bot lane as early as they would prefer.
Yep, that's going to mean the BBQ are able to pick up this Rift Herald. Crazy able to shove that wave forward. Picks that one up. So on the back timing, not exactly what he wanted, but now has that Abyssal Mask. So at least the laning phase is going to feel a little bit better.
Crazy wants to trade. First Iceborne Gauntlet we've seen from an Ornn in a long time.
Yeah.
Looks to be picked up here. Nothing really else for Crazy to turn the Sheen into, so has committed himself to going
anything
into
that has a little bit
Shroud.
more damage in an Ornn build in this matchup makes me really happy. So nice work, Crazy.
SoHwan can feel really good about the Banner of Command build here, though.
Yeah.
Indexing heavy on magic resist against basically purely only magic damage, given it's going to be on-hit Varus, who largely does fall under the magic damage side, is really, really nice for the side of SoHwan. So it's going to be even more unkillable Atlas. Something for you to look forward to in team
Yeah,
fights.
that's great. Well, it just means that I get to yell about abilities going off. I just won't talk about the fact that they're doing nothing to SoHwan. They're like, oh, it's a gigantic paddle star that almost took off Sion's shield. Woohoo!
His Soul Furnace.
His Soul Furnace was burning Papa Smithy.
Wraith is just staying out of lane to stay in experience range, but not be in engage range from the Leona. Trick has managed to sneak himself in here, and no one's ready to react from the side of Jin Air. They're waiting for their time.
Look at them, they are so ready. Bluewood, okay, really good Featherstorm timing. Teddy is going to use the flash this time. The quickness actually comes down as the grand entrance from Wraith is just going to get a bit of damage back, but are we going to set up a wall? No, we're not. Grace is going to turn himself back. They still have all of this vision control, but Jin Air haven't been able to utilize it at all so far this game, and Trick's going to stay around.
This is Trick. That's what he's known for in the EULCS. He is known for the camp. His camp is on. They will not expect him to still be here. We almost never see this in the LCK, the second round gank. In the bot side, here we go.
Yep, there's the flash. Instant cleanse comes down, though.
Usually the support isn't the Captain Jack, but Wraith, oh boy.
That was insane. That was a Battle Dance cleanse within a second. Like, as the flash came in from Ghost, he was already there.
How often do we talk about support cleanse mechanics?
Yeah, that was nutty.
Now we can call it the Wraith. Anytime you actually get out of CC with cleanse on a support. We won't get to talk about that much. Let's go bot lane again, says Jin Air.
Yeah, well, there's another double knock-up, actually. Wraith playing around on this Rakan really nicely. Sort of needed to get his eye in after that first gank, but since then, the plays have certainly been good. Kept his flash after that last gank as well.
And
so
Trick's camp is not over. He still has to Rift Herald, wants to crash this turret. It's very high HP. Taliyah would have to weave as well over, but will actually be second. The Zoe is already roaming. BBQ trying to flip the script. This entire comp from Jin Air is around getting that first turret. It looks impossible.
Yeah, inviting Shelly to the campsite as well is just real dangerous, as Tempt does have to be careful. Has to use the stopwatch actually to get out of the way of the seismic shove, then instantly flashes SoHwan, trying to set up the cube. It doesn't actually let it. Tempt explodes though as UmTi joins the fight. IgNar just around so many people that he's not friends with on this map right now. And that's Jin Air getting two back for themselves, answering BBQ.
Yeah, SoHwan was a presence in a team fight this early. The Ornn ultimate was very delayed compared to the Sion crashing in and not caring about magic damage at all. They're looking for more.
Yep, the quickness is going to get popped.
Oh,
and there's
baby!
another double knock-up. Oh my god, Wraith. He had his breakfast this morning, Papa Smith. He's feeling real good about himself, and Crazy, he's almost on the wrong side.
They flipped the script instantly. 4 kills out of nowhere. Super decisive is Wraith. His first flash didn't get anything. They're going to be able to pick up the Cloud Drake as a bonus. Jin Air GreenWings turning it on 0 to 100 in half a second.
Yeah, and it's like the bot lane giveth, the bot lane taketh away, Papa, because it was Jin Air not looking great in that first exchange. They held on to all of their summoner spells pretty much, apart from a heal. Then everything was A-OK. Tempt, not going to find the trouble bubble as he Looks for the paddle star, doesn't get it.
And imagine how good that feels for the bot lane of Jin Air after already dying and dealing with an extended 3-minute camp from the enemy jungler. IgNar,
Wraith.
again with the solar flare, but we already know that Wraith cannot be hit by CC.
Yep, he's also not a window shopper, as we just found out. Battlestar going to be blocked by Wraith once again. This guy, he's an ambulance today.
And not even on Soraka.
Exactly.
An ambulance you can be proud of is Wraith. No one looks at Soraka.
No, no one does.
Sorry, Soraka fans.
Wraith once again, he's going to get a little bit sleepy for the moment, but I think he deserves a bit of a break. He's going to head back home, see whether that Eye of the Watcher is almost ready to come out.
Xayah's already rotated mid lane.
Whoa, Zeke's convergence fully completed out of, what, 2 cloth armors?
It's the very common rush. The build path is very comfortable, and it works better with Xayah than any other AD carry. So
Just a great clip as well for the item to come in.
it's just fun how many times it's suitable for Xayah Rakan. On the one hand, it builds out of an Aegis, so you feel like you like the early stats if you are the Rakan. Rakan also basically starts off every fight with an ultimate. He will always ult compared to a Braum that's trying to hold the ultimate, right? So
yeah,
you're always going to have basically full duration of the damage amp, the extra 50% damage on the Xayah, and then Xayah's pass-through damage procs the 50% as well. Every target hit by it will also get that burn. So in multiple different ways, it suits Xayah Rakan better than any other duo.
So now, that first power spike is going to be hit. Teddy, still, of course, it's the Xayah problem, where you probably want 3 items before anything really works. But after a Zeal item, you feel a little bit better having that extra CDR. Teddy probably not ready to fight any battles just yet. I'm
just interested to see where the next battle will be. It's expected to be bot lane with how low both turrets are. The race to first turret, so important in this game. SoHwan's proxying. He's done this many times on Riven, but on the Sion, it's a different feel.
Yeah, we'll see whether he decides to turn himself into public transport and find anything. But no, not going to head towards the mid lane or anything like that. He's just going to go back top. On the right side of the tower this time. Crazy's looking to go home, but he's going to have that back stopped, so just being a little bit frustrating as the Sion.
T lying in wait will be spotted by the sweeper from Trick back away.
Man, there's a lot of vision though on this bottom side for Jin Air.
They want this turret. They want to get Taliyah in a side lane. They want to start crashing on the turrets for the comp they've already selected. And Grace, we haven't even mentioned in all of this, is 2-0-2, 100% kill participation. Would prefer not to use the Weaver's Wall. It's kind of hoping to just enter lane and take the turret, but probably going to have to use some more resources.
Yeah,
back away.
Move around the backside of this turret as well. Can't get deep enough vision to know whether or not Trick is hanging around. Tempt back in the lane without a teleport though, so Jin Air did have an opportunity to possibly just get a man advantage and brute force, but decide not to. Slow and steady is apparently what wins the race for Jin Air.
It's kind of
themselves
weird.
in the longest game of all time.
This is kind of slow and steady, but also we know the game will instantly explode into life at any possible moment. Teddy going to deny some CS, be a jerk, as UmTi can't take free damage.
Yeah, certainly don't want to take a trouble bubble as the Cataclysm comes through, the solar flare down as well, and UmTi is going to be able to run away utilizing the leap and the flash. And let's not, do we even... Come on, guys.
The observer has to remember that in these tank matchups, we watch everywhere else and wait for the teleport play.
Yeah. I just like how it was a massive paddle.
Whose shield will elapse first?
Damage.
Oh, it was SoHwan's.
Wasn't it Kha'Zix? I thought the Soul Furnace exploded first. This is really uninteresting, isn't it?
Let's keep watching it.
I wonder whose shield is going to pop first.
This is how you know that they don't have the game scripted, or they don't like roll back 5 seconds ago and like use the extra information those 5 seconds to know which lane to watch. They were optimistic about this lane, Atlas.
They keep being optimistic as well. A long time. But at least there is an Iceborne Gauntlet, so Crazy going to have a little bit more of that AoE wave clear.
Where's the Banner of Command?
It's coming. It's on its way.
I think that we'll see a lot of it on patch 8.4 with the new Baron buff minions becoming basically stronger than most champions with the Banner of Command buff. That back animation is still spectacular.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The supply depot back, pretty good. Okay, Ghost's going to switch it up though.
Heart for SoHwan as well, so it seems like the Banner of Command's been delayed. Teddy, closer and closer to his second item. Static Shiv going to be the pickup here, we would imagine. Could be Rapid Fire Cannon as well.
I've seen a bit of both. Even seen the Renan's Hurricane coming in second item for the Xayah recently as well. I don't mind that one. You know, add a little bit of that AoE, but a little bit high range is the BBQ comp. Want to be poking around his tent and things like that. So having a rapid fire cannon sounds like a good idea. As Grace, he's in trouble. He's going to utilize the flashes. There is a big goat that it isn't going to be able to be followed up with, as UmTi's going to go invisible and run the hell away. Trick, that was an odd flash.
He just was invisible the entire time. He thought there'd be one little frame where he could actually ultimate onto the Kha'Zix, but not going to happen with Moby Boots on UmTi. So nice little bait there when it comes to the summoner.
Okay. A lot of buttons were pressed, but not a whole lot of actual results.
Watch just how far UmTi goes without being seen. He gets seen by a ward, otherwise he would still be invisible.
Yeah, I like that. You can run around the top side of the jungle without ever being seen.
It's not fun to play against the solo queue, let me tell you.
Yeah, he's like Evelyn. He's like pretty much old Evelyn.
Except Evelyn's visible for the first 6 minutes, and I guess Kha'Zix is too, but after that, both of them equally invisible.
Yeah. Now we've got 2 of them. Oh dear.
He continues to motor around, clear vision in the mid side. Bot lane turret is down. And for now, at least, Jin Air focused on getting top side. So it's all about control wards top side. We're talking about how it was that inevitable battle to allow Grace to roam without being spotted on the bot side while the duo was still there. Now the duo's top side. So basically, wherever the duo is, that's where you want exclusive vision as the Taliyah comes.
Trick still hanging around this mid lane as well. He has spent a lot of time waiting so far this game. Isn't behind by too far though. 11. As far as camps is concerned, it's barely anything. But UmTi has got his Dustblade. Will have enough to buy something else as well when he goes back, because the man's 1-0 and 3. 100% kill contribution alongside his mid laner. And his support, Wraith as well. Doing very, very well.
We should note that the
death contribution.
That's a fair point. But we should note that for Jin Air, the one area they will struggle at compared to BBQ is Baron. Kha'Zix versus a Warmog's Jarvan lets you know that you kind of need to get the multiple picks if you're Jin Air. You want to play an objective-focused game, and then if you see a mistake from BBQ, pounce, then go to the Baron. Whereas if BBQ can find a way to actually force Jin Air to face check around the Baron, that's going to be what they want to do, because their Baron take is so much safer compared to Jin Air.
I feel like Jin Air probably just want to wait until Teddy's going to be able to get stuff done. May not be able to, though, because Call of the Forge God flies through. Stopwatch has to be used. Poor timing by IgNar on the solar flare. They will be able to still grab the kill, but the Grand Entrance comes down. Tempt explodes. So much damage, but it's a double kill. Doesn't even matter. I'm not even sure how he managed to flick back a Paddle Star to pick up that kill onto UmTi. But despite the fact that the ult doesn't land from IgNar, BBQ just had too many members in the mid lane and take down Jin Air's jungle and mid. Yeah, Grace and UmTi caught in the CC chain, and Teddy wasn't there to profit off the re-engage attempt from Wraith. So a lot of summoners down. We talked about the Baron. It's Baron time for BBQ. Yeah, teleport going to be utilized by Tempt here as well. Managed to pick one of those up. Wraith looking to head on over. He should be able to disrupt the members of BBQ, and IgNar's about half health. But Crazy and Trick are just so tanky. Half health now on the Baron. UmTi's nowhere to be seen. Still coming back from the Death Chamber. IgNar may actually fall low. They should still be able to grab this Baron. He's just baiting him. In goes SoHwan. Does a decent amount of work now as Wraith makes his way out. But Tempt is going to be able to do so much damage. The AoE from Teddy may not necessarily be enough, as SoHwan, as the zombie Sion, shouldn't be able to get too much done. It's a double kill actually for the Ornn. Who said they didn't do any damage? Well, I mean, it's us, and it's still us, but he was still able to grab that double, but saves the Baron. Yeah, 1 for 2, and stopping the Baron when it seemed like an instant certainty for BBQ is a good trade for the side of Jin Air. They're able to push in mid. UmTi's going to try and start the Mountain of Stabbing for some reason, yeah, it's like
as far as I can see.
The party Mountain Drake. UmTi doesn't like that very much. He wants to be the dabbist himself, so he's just going to kill this dragon. How dare you.
That Mountain needs to calm down.
I've never seen a Mountain or a dragon dab before, so
no.
this is a really great first moment. Why
That's
is
why
it always Jin Air?
I like the observer sticking on it and being like, what else will the dragon do? It does the robot. We're like, what?
Yeah. Mountain Drake getting rocks thrown into it makes some sense here. I think it's good thematically, so Grace is going to come down and do a bit of that. See whether we are going to head back towards this Baron as well, because with the Mountain down, Mountain and Cloud now being picked up for Jin Air, they did have a lot of control on the bottom side of the map, but they have since moved their vision towards that Baron.
And the previous fight was the worst case scenario where Grace was caught without flash and Teddy wasn't there. So there was really no ability to react, and UmTi was kind of caught in the crossfire. Next attempt will be a lot cleaner for Jin Air. They already had multiple control wards in the area. I wonder if BBQ should have just gone for the confirmation on Baron. There was no smite to contest it. They went for the peel eventually because it took so much time to push through the Sion, and in the end couldn't pick up the Baron. The VOD review may suggest that was the moment for BBQ to actually fully commit. But we'll digress. It's only 26 minutes into the game. Still plenty of time for BBQ to try to recreate what they were able to do to Jin Air the first time.
Yeah, the Baron wasn't necessarily going down extraordinarily fast either, as in goes Jin Air. They're trying to find Ghost and IgNar. It's a decent Chains of Corruption, but Wraith doesn't find the grand entrance, and he may actually just get exploded here. Battle Dance comes in, but it's just not quite enough to get himself out with the second charge, and that's the whole bottom lane destroyed. BBQ so good at getting these 2 picks, and Trouble Bubble from downtown through the terrain is looking to pick up Grace. The explosion of damage as the Paddle Star follows it up, and Ghost is gifted a kill with 3 dead on the side of Jin Air. Now should be BBQ's chance.
The longest range Trouble Bubble you'll ever see connect takes down Grace. This will be the free Baron. We wondered if the moment had passed them. The moment is right now. BBQ take Baron.
Yeah, just talking about it, saying that Jin Air were able to get something back. Oh, see you later, UmTi. No chance he was surviving that one.
And now the game goes from bad to worst for the side of Jin Air. 3-1-3 and 4-1-3 on the carries, respectively. The Baron stopping them from playing the side lanes. Jin Air do not have enough vision to make this play. They end up going in. The teleport is there for Tempt. Grace actually cuts off his own Sion with the Weaver's Wall. Sion ends up dashing into the Weaver's Wall and can't be there. He didn't have teleport. In general, they misplayed this about as much as you can in one single passage. And then Grace, well, that's what happens when the Trouble Bubble can go that far down a wall.
Yeah, almost deserved it. Didn't actually notice the Weaver's Wall with the interrupt onto SoHwan, so yeah, very unfortunate. Bit of a redemption there to come through from Tempt as he picks that one up off the ground, as Jin Air are just doing their best to hold on to these structures. That would be a tilter, though. I mean, when those sort of situations happen and you're just not on the same page with your teammates, that's when real frustration starts to kick in.
Certainly, and you don't have an off time, you don't have 15 minutes to kind of regroup, as they're just chasing on to UmTi, force the flash.
Yeah, he's going to land the Call of the Forge God. Crazy just proving that he can. Teddy actually getting decent damage through as the double knockup comes down, but Wraith is just not tanky enough. Double stun on the Solar Flare as Teddy throws out the heal. He's going to be able to get himself back out. Tempt with an extra flash that he picked up, and IgNar has the Ignite ticking down. He got enough damage with a little bit of that, the passive coming through from Tempt to help out.
Jin Air just capitulating in front of our eyes. Great work at the start. One bad mistake where there's going to be some hard feelings from a couple of members. This Baron buff power play is going to be insane.
Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Trix actually split pushing on the full tank Jarvan, trying their very best to take down this turret as well, but with the extra range on the siege minion means that they will have to tank it up if they're going to get any work done. But yeah, that's Banner of Command, double Baroned up siege minions. And okay, next patch will be a little bit different, but at the moment, he's still doing a bunch of work.
And they're still pushing, still a minute left on this Baron buff power play. So much gold is being piled together. We had basically an even game. And now when this turret finally falls, 7,000 is the gold lead for BBQ Olivers. Jin Air GreenWings will be feeling so sheepish. And it's the sort of kind of capitulation that's very hard to arrest before the coach gets in there, before the support staff gets in there to calm them all down. Still young players, still a couple of massive mistakes, and it seems like the flow-on effect will be very difficult for Jin Air to find a foothold in this game. Now that the Zoe is super farmed, super fed, there's no real good news stories to counter that on the side of Jin Air.
Yeah, and it's actually even worse than it looks for Jin Air here as well, just because Jarvan and Leona are so good at playing from ahead. As far as snowballing a lead is concerned, if you've got a Leona, you're feeling absolutely fantastic, because you're just going to get more tanky than the other members of Jin Air, and anyone is a good pick-off target, and you've got so many tools in order to do so. Feels like it's going from bad to worse extremely quickly for Jin Air, and it makes sense based on the composition. Oh my god.
There's two Banner of
double
Command
Banner
minions.
of Command.
It wasn't even two tanks, but doesn't matter. Thanks very much, says BBQ, pushing up this bot side as every time the trouble bubble comes forward, even though I should know better, I assume it's going to just latch onto one of the members of Jin Air.
Well, I mean, if we're looking for good news, Teddy has his 3 items, Pop Smithy. So, yep, now's the time to do damage, Teddy. Good luck, my friend.
UmTi almost gets killed by a GLP.
That was silly. That was GLP passive proc from Tempt. Not bad. Also had a few of those missiles that you get as well with the passive portion of the spell.
BBQ have such a forgiving calm. They got the double wall marks around the Barons, equally relevant around the turrets. That's through quite a lot of magic resist onto the Sion as well.
Weren't we talking about Sion being unkillable and stuff? No, that's not happening. This cast creep doing some work.
The other one is dead. So, sad news for fans of Banner of Command.
If you're fans of minions, it's sad news every day.
But that was Ralph. Ralph was my favorite minion.
No, I liked Gary.
Gary's
over here. Oh, he survived. Turret Show's going to take out Gary. Doesn't matter. Apparently, even the tower liked Gary. Gary didn't like the tower, though, because he killed it. So that's, yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. BBQ, fantastic suffocation when it comes to the vision, though, to bring things back on point. You can see Jin Air unable to get anywhere outside of their own base. In full lockdown mode. We know that they're good at it, but it isn't how you want to play League of Legends. That is a 4-item Zoe on the side of BBQ, and when it's piloted by Tempt, you know you're going to have a bad time.
And now it's let's steal the Baron, hopefully. It's kind of the plan for Jin Air. They can get the Baron, they can continue to delay the game out. As you mentioned, the items starting to roll in for the Xayah. I think they'll still have a lot of struggles in front-to-back team fights, trying to make something out of the Kha'Zix, which is usually the champion that really slows down any true 5v5 advance from a team comp like Jin Air's. It's not impossible, still is some ways back into the game, but how to defend the Baron, how to stop BBQ from just turning off it with the Ornn ultimate, going back to tanking it with the Warmogs, and even running the side lanes with the Banner of Command. Stacking problems that I'm not sure Jin Air will find an answer.
Yeah. The problem is with the QSS, with the fact that Wraith can help try and keep Teddy alive. There's just so many CC options, so many engage options. If one of them doesn't work from BBQ, they just throw in the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It's just going to be really, really rough. Featherstorm not going to be enough to keep Teddy alive. So whether they can manage to orchestrate some sort of team fight where they can create a victory could work, because if all of those buttons are on cooldown, Teddy, with now the addition of the Ardent Sensor as well as the Zeke's Convergence, should certainly be optimized as far as damage. Like, the damage DPS potential coming out from Teddy is huge. I just don't think he'll ever be able to do any damage for that long.
And that's the right read, Atlas. We saw the Banner of Command going down the bot lane. How can Jin Air respect the pushing side lanes from BBQ, contest the Baron, and then even if they are able to do that, even Sion teleports up, then they're still going to have side lane problems that he won't be able to teleport for. So playing the map in the way Jin Air need to actually fully contest the Baron, to me it'd be a mistake for BBQ to not get a free Baron or for the game to end without a Baron being taken, because they have so many different options. But mistakes are always possible when it's 7th versus 8th.
Well, there is a wall that's going to be set up, but cancelled relatively early there by Grace. They wanted to try and catch someone off, and they did at least split up BBQ, but decided that they didn't want to go in for anything. They need to find the optimal team fight if they are going to get in there.
You need to see in items, and you'll notice not enough control wards for BBQ to play around the Baron. Seems like they missed a shop, or the wards are being cleared because they have no control wards around the Baron. That does actually give free time for Jin Air. This is a pretty big mistake by BBQ. They need to fully reset and actually get control wards for the pit. They should control the pit. They have so many champions to patrol, put down a control ward, and Jarvan and Ornn to be unkillable when it comes to face-checking vision. Not having enough wards is going to delay their movements or make them take a more risky Baron than they should be.
They just haven't been back to base in a really, really long time. They had brilliant ward coverage around this topside river, but there's Call of the Forge God. Is it actually going to matter? Nope. They at least get Teddy's ultimate out. Nothing else. And it's one ultimate down.
They're trying to do this on the cheap. They're trying to do it without a recall for wards. Seems unnecessary. Wraith walking up.
Yeah, Grand Entrance is going to be an exit this time around and doesn't even need to use the flash. Can just battle dance over to Teddy.
They now have the double control ward down. This is great. Much better here. Much cleaner. Turning on to UmTi, but no follow-up damage yet.
Yeah, oh, wow. I think that may have actually been a dead Kha'Zix if that Paddle Star had landed, but didn't. Thank goodness for any Jin Air fans out there. Jin Air actually going to utilize this moment to potentially push down this outer turret in mid lane. Not able to. Ghost easily enough that wave. Oh, okay.
Now that was close. It would have been a one-shot.
Spamming your F button as quickly as possible and praying to God, I think. Okay,
prayers were answered. They're trying to kill Sion. They might actually do it
they're
instantly.
layering the CC. There's so many options, but is this exactly what they want to do? Do they want to be focusing this guy? It's Call of the Forge God once again off cooldown. SoHwan is actually causing a ruckus in the backline. Tempt down to about half health. Trick as well utilized, taken down fairly low. But is this enough to take down the Baron is the question. SoHwan, not the smite user. He could possibly be able to get himself in there.
But no, there's no real way, now that the ward line has been cemented, to stop this. They control the pit, they control outside the pit, they control the Baron, BBQ, Oliver's. Now it feels like their next objective with this Baron is to finally break the base.
I think that they should be able to do it. The other option would be do their very best to start another fight. You can imagine that IgNar, with how he's been playing so far today, would certainly like that. Teddy has almost managed to flame Horizon as a team that's 5-13 and behind 4 turrets and a hell of a lot of gold.
Only reason that he's competitive in items against the now 6-kill Varus. He's facing, does have 6 items himself, but has a Mercurial Scimitar, and you would imagine a Lord Dominic's Regard to close up the build. If he hits that moment and they are still in a competitive spot, there is still the chance that the old Jin Air stall is possible.
Yeah,
looking on Teddy.
Yeah.
He does have sorcery, so outside chance he has the Gathering Storm. It's been common for him, so let's assume it's Gathering Storm for both AD carries.
Yeah.
Don't have a Gathering Storm indicator here at OGN, so can't give you the full information, but pretty easy to assume when it comes to Jin Air.
That was a bit cute by Tempt, using his Redemption to actually heal up the minion wave. They push this one down, looking to try and break the base on the bottom side of the map first.
Basically what happens here is that Teddy wants to walk up to try to wave clear it, and then Ghost could flash after him, or IgNar will look for a pick on him because it needs Teddy to be the line wave clear here.
Yeah, UmTi as well feeling a little bit useless as there's Call of the Forge God crazy. Not going to get the knockups he's looking for though, as SoHwan still at full health. IgNar holding onto that Solar Flare. Look for that one to see whether anyone's going to be falling low, but crazy. It's seismically shoved back.
And they might even be able to account for both of these cannon minions that were bannered as well. So it's already better case than expected, as that minion was first shoved and then pushed away.
He's straight trolling Grace today. Like, that's all he's been doing. This tower going down extremely low. The siege minion, there's the last shot. And that's going to do it. He did his job as he finally takes enough feathers to take him down.
Let's wait and see if BBQ want to wait for the Ornn ultimate to come back up. It's about 15 seconds away from being available.
You can see the damage potential of Teddy though. This is actually relatively dangerous for BBQ, not wanting to actually commit to this inhibitor.
Teddy did finish the Lord Dominic's as well, so he's only a Mercurial Scimitar short of full build, and Sion decides go time.
Yeah, it's choo-choo train movement forward as the Solar Flare doesn't find any stuns, just slows down the Sion. UmTi looking to try and get into that backline, get something that he wants, but Crazy's too far forward, has to use the flash to get out of the way. Call the Forge God comes down once again, and it's Teddy taken out of the fight for the moment. Crazy still alive. UmTi just turned on and destroyed, but there are low health bars on BBQ. Teddy can get the work done, picks up his first kill. Trick's in trouble, massive double matchup. Tempt is going to explode. It's the Rakan that grabs one of the kills, and BBQ running for the hills.
They can't get onto Teddy. Teddy can clean it up. He does his best. Able to take a couple of kills. The minion wave is doing a lot of pushing. BBQ have backed off. They're onto the Elder Dragon. But with Taliyah to clear this up, there's going to be a contest from Jin Air.
Yeah, Jin Air moving themselves over. We'll see whether Wraith and Teddy actually want to take this one up. Oh, this is cute. The ex-European brothers.
Of course, Wraith can play the game of, well, if they're not there, where are they? And doesn't need to walk up to that brush.
That gets the control ward down here.
He would love to check that brush, but right now he realizes he can't.
Yeah.
Backs away. They would love to get a mid lane out of the turret. 40 minutes into the game. Jin Air get it. Their own game plan was stalled because of their mistakes earlier in the game.
What were we talking about earlier on, Papa, saying that we're okay with having an extremely long game? Well, BBQ haven't been able to close this one out.
And Ornn's not there, so the Elder will go to the side of Jin Air. They do have 2 buffs, but I guess an extra 5% to minions will be helpful with how much base defense they've been doing so far.
Yeah. That's how us regenning at the moment. The bottom one, not going to be able to.
Our observer has been very active in showing us things. I appreciate it. In games like this where there's not much to talk about, I appreciate the direction.
Our observer has also really been loving turret health. It's like his favorite thing. Turret health.
You can tell what phone game he's been playing in the breaks.
Oh my god.
Getting the turret defense on as much as possible.
Oh, I love turret defense though. Is he? Do you reckon he's been playing like old school Warcraft 3 custom map turret defense?
I'd hope so.
Yeah, so would I. That was my fave. Tempt is going to trouble bubble the Rift Scuttler to death. They're going to try and reset themselves. Bloodthirster now completed for Ghost. This guy's got a hell of a lot of wave clear, hell of a lot of life steal, and a lot of on-hit damage.
And SoHwan has all the beef. He's definitely been ready to go. He's super insanely tanky. Has the passive health gain from the W, a Warmogs, another giant spell. He also gets temporary health in a team fight with a Gargoyle's Stone Plate.
Yeah.
He can kind of be the one-man tank line that UmTi doesn't complement in a perfect fight. He was great diving into the last fight around bot side. Much more difficult to do, much less reliable than having Jarvan and Ornn on duty. But if UmTi gets a successful flank next time where he can even half-health Tempt, even trivialize one of the carries, there is the chance you can outplay here as Jin Air. It's way off script. This is not how the game was drafted to be picked. But from the pick phase for Jin Air, this is supposed to be about their turret destruction. After their mistakes, they've largely stabilized, and BBQ haven't closed out the game. As Ghost could just die here.
Yeah, UmTi's looking for him, but actually didn't want to start the fight. Couldn't do enough damage to him. His seismic shove not going to find the target, but there it is. The assassination from UmTi. Wraith not going to get trouble bubbled, so Tempt is unable to find the kill.
And Ghost, you always go with friends 45 minutes into the game to pick up your red buff. Greedy from him, could have gone with either of his tank line. He doesn't, and Jin Air stop pushing.
Yeah, and Tempt actually landing a large round of spells onto SoHwan and does absolutely nothing with it. You mentioned the Sion being a huge beefcake. Well, he definitely is. Now there's a minion wave that BBQ desperately want to try and remove, but this inner turret fell down so fast. The inhibitor turret evaporates, and that's the destruction of the inhibitor as well. So the first team to get an inhibitor this game is, against all odds, Jin Air GreenWings.
And BBQ have allowed the Teddy win condition to come online. He was able to pick up the farm. He had 420 CS, even though he was 0-3-3. BBQ had done all the hard work. They were a bit slow on the first Baron. Still, they took it, and we thought this was their time to close the game. A couple of mistakes later, and suddenly Jin Air are back in control.
Yeah, now 6 seconds until the Baron comes back up. That's why they're not pressuring this inner turret on the top side of the map. And in goes Wraith. Actually does find IgNar. He's going to explode. Solar Flare does nothing. The Call of the Forge got dodged as well with an expertly timed Featherstorm from Teddy.
Sion does cancel his teleport, which means that Baron is difficult. Not sure if that was the right move, but I guess Jin Air might have some purchases to do.
He could jump in the river and take a train.
I just don't understand why SoHwan would cancel the teleport. It was really deep, but I'm pretty sure he could have gotten out one way or the other. Regardless, no Baron threat here, and what did BBQ do? They walk up, they're kind of surprised they get some Baron control. They back away. Again, a reminder, it is 7th versus 8th place. We're being teams that aren't as used to being in control of a game are allowing it to delay a little bit.
Yeah.
And they've delayed successfully for Jin Air until Teddy's got all of the items.
Actually, all the items as well. And the Curious Scimitar that you mentioned hadn't been finished, was recently acquired. So in goes the Weaver's Wall, but they get 3 over. That means that the Baron is going to be stopped. I'll have a bit of a nap there, SoHwan. Should be okay as they go back onto the Baron.
No way to interrupt Trick over the pit.
Yeah, this is going to be a 50-50. They really don't want to be doing this, and they're going to turn away.
They don't trust Wraith to be able to get there. They don't have vision to put around the backside, so they have to pull away.
Trouble bubble again. There's a bit of a blue screen. Is actually bad when you look like you probably ran a bit by computers. The side of SoHwan with his fancy little skin.
No control wards in the inventory behind the pit. They need one of those so they can have eyes on Trick if they trust the interrupt to come through from Wraith. Back on the pit again.
Yep, just onto this Baron, of course. They do have lane pressure with these super creeps heading down the mid lane. The Ornn's actually going to move over early. Grace down here as well, just throwing pebbles around. Trying not to work too much of this ground, and that is going to be Teddy securing it. Trick got into the pit. I don't know how it didn't work, but he didn't even get the smite off. Oh man, that was too close for comfort. That could have been disaster for Jin Air. Honestly, that Baron play was not the best.
Yeah, it was very rough there, unfortunately. Kind of reminiscent of something MVP would pull off. They're far too aggressive around the Baron. They don't have the vision behind the pit to interrupt. As you say, Trick gets in, gets out, but doesn't get the Baron. And Teddy, of all people, with a big crit, you'd imagine. As he
Wait, maybe it actually does more damage than Smite. Did you see that red buff get 2-shot?
I did see that. There are more resists on the Baron, but I agree that it's going to be a big number.
Yeah, that's extraordinary.
I mean, Teddy's huge. He's also hit the Fountain Laser statement.
Yep.
We haven't seen Fountain Laser Teddy in a while. Full Fountain Laser, no boots. Legolas here with the Phantom Dancer as the final item.
Yeah, he's actually up in kills as a 2-3-4 Xayah. Sorry, up in gold as a 2-3-4 Xayah.
Consider that he does 500 AD and does 50% bonus.
Oh yeah, the dang Zeke's convergence.
And then with the shield, I'm sure he's at 2.5 attack speed as well. He is as decked out as could be.
Yeah, the Ardent Sensor there on top of him as well. Wraith certainly giving a lot of candy to Teddy. Okay, another bit of a blue screen there for SoHwan, but he's A-OK.
Minion wave in mid. It's going to take a while to crash, even though it is the super minions pushing in.
See Grace actually moving on over there, seeing whether he wants to actually help push these ones out.
Need a Weaver's Wall here, I think, to guarantee the turret, and on command.
Thank you very much, Papa Smithy. Chains of Corruption comes in though. SoHwan might actually find himself on his own and uses the ultimate, gets some of that CC immune to get him out of there, but that is an engage tool that Jin Air now don't have.
And it's a pretty advantageous cooldown trade as well, because Weaver's Wall does have that longer cooldown, so answered by BBQ. That will continue to delay the game.
Yeah, UmTi going to make his way back in here. I don't know what he was quite doing, just wandering behind, but Ghost Blade is popped. Just trying to shove forward. They are getting meaningful damage onto this turret.
It's going to take so long. It's mostly only the minions. Still no auto attacks from Teddy on the turret.
Yeah, I do like SoHwan just body blocking for Teddy though. Not a lot of opportunities for Tempt to weave anything in.
You see the exclamation point, the warning ping on the big minion wave that was buffed up by the Banner of Command. BBQ know they're able to push up here. They're actually out-pushing Jin Air with Baron because of their side lane management in top.
Yeah, apparently the minions are better at lane control than either of these teams are so far this game. So there's another call of the Forge God, Crazy. Plays Pong all the way back there, but Teddy just stays right up in it. Doing the very best that he can. Fenderstorm comes in, Crazy having to flash out of the way, and BBQ scattering, heading for the hills. Tower's going to fall down on the top side. They may actually lose their first inhibitor, but they are going to be able to get the bottom one. They should be able to move over to mid and do the same thing. Banner of Command not quite enough to win off this minion battle. And Jin Air say that they don't care about their base, they're just going to go for the trade.
But they're not going to go for the win, they're going to back away. These minions aren't stopping.
The minions are going for the win though, Papa.
The minions know exactly. I was talking about Crazy's joining them.
Yeah, Tempt is joining them as well.
Oh, God!
They're going for the jugular here. We've got UmTi, he turns himself back in there, and they're stopping the backs. Tempt is doing what he can, but they've lost one of the Nexus turrets.
Here's the choo-choo train and the wall.
Yeah, and they didn't actually block each other off this time around. Tempt, he's in trouble.
Where are they fighting?
Cue the Benny Hill music, Papa.
They're fighting over here.
They grab Tempt at least for the first kill. Oh my goodness. IgNar fell down, of course, before. There's a Ornn running up the lane. I think there might be a little bug chasing after him, and I don't know what happened. This game devolved very quickly.
It is a fiesta to end all fiestas. Fighting off screen, fighting on screen, a wall to stop the Winions from ending the game. The double Banner of Command gets the big seal of approval from Papa Smithy. He's done so much work in the side lanes this game. Who will win? We still don't know. Jin Air seem like they're in control. They want to push up. They want to try to end. Is this the time? It's still long death timers on Tempt.
Yeah, it was one hell of a Hail Mary play. You feel like BBQ probably not in the best position to grab the victory, but Trick says, I'm going to put you all in a cage, and Teddy says no. I'm going to jump up into the air, and I'm going to take down all of your turrets as best I can.
Have to fight.
That's a 3-man knock-up, though. Massive damage onto the Rakan, as UmTi still has the Guardian Angel.
Ghost
looking
is free
for
hitting.
Yeah, they get rid of Teddy. And now it's all about this. The choo-choo train comes in, immediately the cleanse comes down, but Solar Flare, he doesn't have enough buttons to get himself out of that one, and now BBQ with all the control.
And BBQ have done it. They're going to go down and win the game. No ability for Jin Air to stall out 1 minute death timers. In the end, Ghost was able to free hit, no threat onto him, as SoHwan couldn't close the gap, and BBQ are going to win.
Yep, how annoying can SoHwan be to try and stop this one? UmTi, absolutely no health, no mana, has to get himself back, but the teleports are going to get Tempt back in. SoHwan desperately trying to keep them away from his last remaining Nexus turret, but he's going to go down to zombie mode. The last turret not going to be enough when the Varus is this damn fed. This game went everywhere as quickly as it possibly could, and in the end it's BBQ doing what they could do the first round robin, and are now 1-up over Jin Air GreenWings.
A topsy-turvy, entertaining game between BBQ and Jin Air GreenWings. Macro not apply. In fact, Macro was the reason that BBQ won. The side lanes, the banner of command, 2-0 was apparently enough for them to just control the side lane. And even after all Jin Air's hard work to get back in the game, the Winions, not when we thought, but a little bit later, did end up deciding.
Man, what an insane game. Thought that Jin Air would be able to pull that one off. They had 5 members crashing forward trying to take down that Nexus, but as soon as Teddy dies, I feel like the hopes for Jin Air die with them. And when it's that late in the game, it's just too hard, and props to BBQ. They're the ones that bought the right items.
So watch here, Ghost has to respect the feathers, so doesn't actually get into auto attack range for a while. Then there's the Wombo engage, and no one is closing down on Ghost. He free hits SoHwan basically to death. He has to flash ult away just to get out, and this is where everything had fallen apart. They're also able to catch Graves first with a chain of corruption, and then the ultimate was back up for IgNar. They take him down, they push down, they join the Winions from topside, and BBQ steal away a victory that honestly was rightfully theirs 20 minutes earlier. And all the good work from Jin Air. The comeback is denied by BBQ Winions.
Yeah. BBQ Olivers. It wasn't clean. Didn't look absolutely fantastic, but they were in control for the majority of that game. Definitely a deserved win, but the end probably could have been cleaned up. It was good fun. I liked actually, if you can just cut it to like the last 10 minutes of that game, was probably one of my favorites.
So you're saying the highlight 5-minute clip of this is going to be good?
Yeah. The highlight 5-minute clip is definitely the best. But guys, we are going to have a short break. When we come back, we'll see whether BBQ can back it up with another fantastic performance like that, at least entertaining, or whether it's Jin Air that's going to bring us to a 3-game series. Could potentially be a lot of League of Legends for our first series of the night. So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a very short break.